Everyone, and thank you for attending today's webinar titled Lenovo Workstation. Before we begin, I want to cover a few housekeeping items. At the bottom of your audience console are multiple application widgets you can use. If you have any questions during the webinar, you can submit your questions in the Q&A box and they'll be answered at the end of the presentation. You can also expand your slide area by clicking on the maximize icon on the top right of the slide viewer. If you have any technical difficulties, please click the help widget. And if you can please take a moment to fill out the survey at the end of the webinar, that would be great. I'll now hand the deck over to your speaker. Enjoy the webinar.
Perfect. Thanks, Rachel. So just want to thank everyone for joining this call, blocking out time on your calendar to find out a little bit more about workstations and Insight. But myself, I'm Todd Pitzenberger. I'm the Workstation Channel Account Manager dedicated to workstations as well as Insight. So I've been supporting Lenovo and Insight for a little over 4 years. But just kind of want to give you background. Insight is Lenovo's second largest partner. Lenovo's heavily invested as far as resources at Insight. We've got our own BDM specialist, Insight account rep. So a lot of resources at Insight that cover workstations. But just really, again, want to reiterate the partnership that Insight and Lenovo have, especially with workstations. So at the end, we'll have about 10 minutes for questions. So if you want to hold on to those, or you can put them in the chat, we'll be happy to answer those as well. But just really want to turn it over to our presenter today. Jacob Talley comes to us with a long history of experience at Lenovo, a little over 5 years, especially in the workstation product management role, both global and North America as well. So Jacob, turn it over to you.
All right, thanks, Todd, and hello, folks. As he mentioned, my name is Jacob Talley. I am the P-Series product manager for ThinkPad. Some of my Lenovo experience that he mentioned before I came over to the category team, I spent a couple years with the worldwide BU for Workstation covering product operations. Before that, I was actually an ISR covering corporate R&D accounts in the Southeast, so I actually did work with quite a few Insight reps. As he said, the second biggest partner in Lenovo, so I am familiar. And I'm very excited to actually be giving this webinar today just to teach you a little bit about the upcoming P-Series launches, some gotchas, and some Gen differences. So we'll try and leave some time for questions at the end. We'll go through Q&A. But without further ado, I guess let's get to it. So first off, I just want to kind of give you a current state or what we have living today, or a current family photo, if you will. Starting from the left, we have the P14s and P15s. If we were to try and categorize this within the P-Series portfolio, we would call this the U class, or an entry-level platform. We say that because of the CPUs they use. So they use a Intel U processor, which is usually undervolted for more efficient power user in the office workflows. We also have a 14S AMD offering as well in the U class. Now, from the P15v and on, we can classify these as H-class series systems, as they use Intel's H-class CPUs. Just the sort of way that we internally like to differentiate our portfolio, and also how we like to present them to our customers. If you want to look at it from a different perspective, anything from 15V on, it will be your real workstations with the higher discrete graphics cards. Usually these are going to be used for specific workflows, whether it be a software or a certain task that a specialized employee might have to use. Particularly, it's going to have one user per system. So when looking at this, there's actually going to be a few changes to the portfolio in terms of the Intel Alder Lake transition that I'll get to in a minute. But in this case, we can still just separate it between U and H class series systems. Now, where we are going with the portfolio, nice little slide. And you'll actually get these slides at the end of the call, so if I go too fast, don't worry, you can actually just to review. But on the right, we actually have a list of different workflows and software vendors. These are our partners that they actually certify our hardware when we do launch them. We wanted to align that with the product lineup on the left. So As you go up from bottom to top with the workflows, it typically are more strenuous software, more strenuous workflows, things you need higher performance CPUs, higher performing GPUs, more RAM, more storage, things of that nature. So we'll start from the top and go to the bottom as far as product goes. First thing you'll notice is that the P15 and P17 is actually being consolidated into one 16-inch platform. That's the new P16. That will be a totally new clean sheet design product this year. It'll brand new chassis, influenced partly by our partnership with Aston Martin on the desktop workstation side of the house. More on that in a minute. If we go a little bit further down, we'll have the P1 Gen 5 transitioning from the P1 Gen 4. This will be a refresh instead of a clean sheet, so most of the same dimensions and starting weight, just a few refreshes on the internal components. Going a little bit further down, the P15v T15p Gen 3, similar story as the P1. This will also be a refresh. Essentially moving to the new Alder Lake Intel CPUs, as well as new DDR5 memory from DDR4. More on that in a moment. We will also have a special derivative of the P15v launching later in the summer, in the middle of August. I couldn't bring any materials about that yet because we haven't hit public announce, but I own the product, so I can talk about it a little bit. We'll get to that a little bit later in the call as well. Right at that point, you'll see the dividing line going into our U class, as I mentioned before. So 15S Gen 2 is now transitioning to 16S Gen 1, where it will adopt a new 16-inch display with 16:10 aspect ratios, essentially giving you a more premium look with narrower bezels. P14S Gen 2 will go to P14S Gen 3. This is also a clean sheet design where we'll also be going from 16:9 to 16:10 aspect ratios. Much more about has changed than that. We'll go into it very shortly. And then our 14S AMD platform, which is industry unique to us. We're the only OEM with a AMD U-class workstation laptop. We're going from a 14-inch to a 16-inch this year. However, we do have plans to offer a 14S AMD Gen 3. It will just be launching in the fall if it comes. At the soonest possible time it will get chip support will be the fall. Next up, we have a couple of blank slides here, I think, but just want to go over some emerging use cases and trends. This is kind of true not just for mobile workstation, but across our entire ThinkPad portfolio. First of all, you might have noticed from the last slide, we're transitioning more than ever to displays with 16:10 aspect ratios. Now, why does it matter to you? Well, it provides users with extra 11% of screen workspace, screen real estate for you to work. It serves up a nice premium look and feel because of the narrower bezels. It offers a higher screen to body ratio. This is really useful for any work case or scenario. I mean, who doesn't want a better looking system for one? I know I do half the time, even though I get one every year at this point. I'm kind of spoiled in that regard, but that's not the point. We still want to have that extra screen real estate, especially for the mobile users out in the field when you don't have that additional external displays lined up or if you're not docked. Really, anyone can enjoy this new transition. Now, next up, Dolby technology and full HD web cameras. And why does that matter? Still going back to the work from home, I know it's been roughly 2.5 years since we made that move. However, it's looking more and more like most places are going to stick to a hybrid environment where, sometimes you're in the office, sometimes you're at home. When you're at home or if you're in a coffee shop or a public area, if you can do that, I don't have the attention span. But if you are out in a public area and you are taking, conference calls and you are active on those calls, you want to, break down that background noise as much as possible. You want to be able to present yourself in the clearest possible way. You want the smooth of a video conferencing experience as you can. Now, full HD webcams, one is going to do that just by offering twice the megapixels that we currently have in the 720p cameras, offering a clear experience. The Dolby Voice is going to use far-field mics to suppress background noises and to present your voice clear and cleaner, especially in crowded environments, but even so within the work confines of your home office. So this is going to basically increase the user experience by a lot, especially for remote collaboration efforts, meetings, conversations, quick calls, what have you. So this is going to be adopted across the P-Series lineup, as well as overall ThinkPad. Now, the last point is more of a workstation-specific scenario. The BU has made more of a commitment than ever to really put an emphasis on performance. So the mantra within the BU is performance is king. I like to say it's a priority. It is the priority. We're not only committed to offering the latest and greatest in terms of Intel CPUs, NVIDIA GPUs, the latest display offerings, different innovations. We want to give you that at the highest possible potential of performance. So we want to maximize those. What does that mean? Okay, we're going to make more investments than ever in thermal assemblies and keeping these things cool. Because at the end of the day, we want to offer that performance, but we want to keep that legendary ThinkPad reliability. What does that mean? 3 to 5 years at least for an enterprise business system with support, driver support, tech support, and without guarantee that, it's not going to die on you, right? So we want to push the limits of our systems, literally fighting physics as far as getting things as thin and light as possible, as well as packing the highest possible performing gear as well. I mean, most of the people in the high end are going to enjoy this, especially those with advanced model rendering, visualizing and rendering large data sets, data science workflows, AI workflows, extended reality applications with VR and AR, advanced video editing, photo editing, much more. So as you're going to see, just not only at the high end, but even at the low end, which I'll cover in a minute, Lenovo now more than ever is making that commitment to performance and making it its main priority. Now, I'll talk a little bit about the Intel Alder Lake transition. This is an important slide to go through this. Alder Lake is Intel's introduction, or they're introducing their 10 nanometer process for the first time. Now, this has been kind of on the cusp for about the last 2 years, so it's very, very welcome. It's we're going to a different architecture. First of all, the performance cores have a greater transistor density, so you can get more power out of these P cores that are still your traditional multi-threaded cores. At the same time, they introduced a secondary core known as an efficiency core or an E core to these different levels of CPUs. So while the multi-threaded P cores are going to be your traditional multi-threaded handling your main task whenever you are using the system, these E cores are supposed to use or really handle the back end single-threaded workflows to ultimately give your computer a smoother, more efficient experience where not only are you increasing performance, but you're increasing power efficiency at the same time. How does it do this? Well, it uses its own proprietary software, the Intel Thread Director, that actually works with the OS to assign the right tasks to the right cores. So not only that, this is improving performance to the integrated graphics chip, the UHD chip, where it was now had 80 execution units. Now you can get up to 96 when you have dual channel memory. So the Alder Lake architecture in general is a big step up in performance from Tiger Lake, and we are seeing that in some of the benchmarks that we have initially prepared at the worldwide level. So a couple more. Please refresh to sync the presenter slides. Okay, sorry, Todd. I just saw your note. Am I behind at all in the? Can everyone see the current slide that I'm on? Okay, cool deal. All right, next up. So a little bit more about the ThinkPad series innovations. We can call them innovations. We can call them changes to the portfolio. Just significant things you're going to see across the portfolio that will kind of help with the facilitation of the rest of these slides. So I just touched on the Alder Lake transition, the new 10 nanometer process, what it means with the 8 lower power single threaded E cores for you to review there. Moving on, we'll have actually new Intel discrete graphics available on the P16 Gen 1, which I'll talk about a little later on the call. One of the things why it matters, well, it's going to provide customers with a choice where, as before, mainly you have NVIDIA as your options on some workflows on the desktop workstation side of the house. You also have AMD options. Intel is giving you just another option for that. So, I mean, it just helps further align on specific workflows for each of the portfolio offerings. So be on the lookout for that. We also have the latest NVIDIA Ampere refresh GPUs. So as always, you'll have higher CUDA core counts, which are your parallel computing cores, RT cores for ray tracing, tensor cores for AI workflows. One thing significantly that they did between 2,000 to 4,000 level graphics, they doubled the VRAM or the frame buffer of those cards. So we're featuring those on the new performance mobile workstations as well. We are going from DDR4 to DDR5 memory on the P16s AMD. That'll be LPDDR5 completely soldered. But what DDR5 is offering as an improvement from DDR4 is lower power consumption, higher memory bandwidth, and higher memory speeds. So just overall, a great improvement from last gen. 16:10 aspect ratio displays. I mentioned that before. Narrower bezels, increased screen to body ratio, increased workspace. We'll actually have a high refresh rate display option on the P1 Gen 5 this year. So that's important for all your animation, your content creators. They're benefiting from these high refresh rates. It also offers a smoother gaming experience for those that might be an engineer at day, gamer by night, or maybe a high ed student, engineering classes. Then you want to join your esports team at night. There you go for your refresh rate display. Just spitballing. The add-on film touch technology. This is going to be specific to the P14s Gen 3 on the UHD touch option. It's a pretty cool breakthrough. It is about 88% lighter and 74% thinner than your traditional glass solutions, and allows us to add the anti-glare, anti-reflective, anti-smudge properties where we used to not be able to do that with your traditional glass offering. So we're looking to adopt that on more products going into 2023, but for now, you can find that on the P14s Gen 3. That's actually at chip support now. A couple more items. Again, some of these you're going to see across ThinkPad as well. So this is kind of more of my one Lenovo pitch to you guys. Displays with low blue light technology. Now you might be saying, and I do the same thing, you go into the settings of Windows, you turn on night mode, you get that little amber orange tint over your displays. This is not that. That's a software solution. This is built into the hardware. So what we are actually doing, and these are iSafe certified, we're digitally removing the parts of the blue light spectrum that cause eye fatigue and disruptions to sleep patterns. So you'll still have your bright, beautiful, color accurate displays. However, you will not have the eye fatigue that comes with that, and associated disruptions to sleep patterns, which, you know, maybe I'm impacted, maybe I'm not, but it's, you know, something I can really, I would like to have, you know, in case I am going through some of these issues. Now, the updated touchpad, it's getting 15% longer. It goes from 100 millimeters to 115 millimeters. This is just something that we received feedback on from a number of customers, just in terms of look and feel and user experience. So we heard you, and we updated the touchpad accordingly. Now, at the same time, this touchpad is going to feature a mylar surface, which mimics the feel and touch of glass. There are going to be some products in the lineup that do have a glass touch option for the mobile workstations. That is your P1 Gen 5. But all the other ones will feature a mylar surface, which mimics the feel and touch of glass. And I like to joke that it's very comforting because it mimics, you know, the feeling of scrolling through social media while you're waiting to, like, get bit by the sleepy bug and go to bed at night. So very comforting, you know. Now I can scroll through emails and not dread the next one that comes through. The Full HD webcams, Dolby Voice, covered that on the emerging use cases slide. Just a little bit of extra info for you to review there. Wi-Fi 6E, this is going to be available on Windows 11, Windows 10. It runs as standard Wi-Fi 6, but this is going to be standard across ThinkPad. This increasing the number of 160 megahertz channels from 2 to 9, essentially lowering the likelihood that you'll have interference in environments with many access points. So it just overall makes your Wi-Fi experience faster and more stable. Also, we have embedded SIM coming across the portfolio, essentially no longer requiring a physical SIM card. This is already going to be embedded into the system, especially with your WAN-ready models, which I make all of my channel top sellers that way. And if you need it WAN-ready, just for the possibility of possibly upgrading one of your users in the future, your Lenovo rep can configure it that way. So be sure to ask about that if that is an interest of you. And then improve paint. We seem to say this every year when it comes to the ThinkPad innovations, where we're improving the anti-fingerprint ability of the paint that we use every year. Well, in this case, you know, it's made a pretty significant step forward from 2 years ago. You will still see some fingerprints left behind, I admit, but the process of removing it is a lot faster, where you can actually get rid of it more effectively and actually get rid of it instead of there being a permanent smudge from your fingerprints. I have, you know, plenty of systems from several years ago, and I will say that the new ones coming out are indeed an upgrade from at least last generation. So, you know, take my word for it, I guess, but also check it out yourself once you receive the new product. Okay, so first up, we're actually getting to the product, P14s Gen 3. Again, this is going to use the new Intel 12th Gen P-class core processors, whereas last year we used Intel's U-class processors. Now, these P28 CPUs are a new introduction with the Alder Lake transition. So whereas before you had U and H class series processors, now we have about 4 classifications. You have U, P, H, and HX. And for mobile workstation, we're going to operate from that P to HX range. So starting off with P14s Gen 3, this will be our Alder Lake P platform. These processors run up to 28 watts of base power, and the integrated models, which are now an additional offering from last year. You'll have the onboard Intel UHD chip. If you have the available DIMM slot populated, it will operate as Iris Xc graphics. You'll get the additional execution units and additional graphics performance there. Other than that, if you go with a discrete GPU, they will come with the new NVIDIA Quadro T550. That's a 4 GB card. It's a refresh from the T500 GPU from last year. We are staying the same in terms of memory. We're sticking with DDR4 and 3200 megahertz speed on the U-class product. You'll achieve the 48 gigs by 16 gigabytes soldered down to the board with additional DIMM slot up to 32 gigs of memory there. Always better to have a balanced system. So if you have 8 down, it's always better to have 8 in the slot, or 16 down with a 16 gigabyte card. But you'll always get more performance whether if you have dual channel memory. So even if that's an 8 gigabyte card, 8 gigabytes down, you have 32 gigabytes in the DIMM, you're still getting greater performance, obviously just from a total memory standpoint, but also just having dual channel memory. And then if you take a step further, a balanced system always works better than a unbalanced system. The storage, staying the same there. We have Gen 4 performance drives going up to 2 terabytes. It has 1 M.2 slot, so the total you can fit in this system is 2 terabytes. Touching on this again, we can go all the way up to a 14-inch UHD plus resolution technology. The plus is for that extra bit of chin that comes with the 16:10 aspect ratio. The true term for this is WQUXGA, so if you can imagine, I like using UHD Plus a lot more. This will come with the add-on film touch technology, the X-Rite factory color calibration. It will have 100%, cover 100% of the Adobe color gamut. It also includes HDR400 and Dolby Vision. And aside from this, we offer 5 other display options on the 14-inch. You'll have 4 different flavors of Full HD. Your normal non-touch, your normal multi-touch. Will also offer a panel with lower power consumption, and one with our e-privacy capabilities that come with a lower viewing angle and will digitally give you the effect of a privacy filter. That will be touch as well. We also offer a 2.2K non-touch display for those that want the higher, more premium resolutions but don't need the touch capabilities of the UHD Plus offering. So that is there, and we'll also offer a potential price savings going from UHD non-touch from P14s Gen 2 to the 2.2K non-touch on Gen 3. We still have 2 Thunderbolt ports and 2 USB-A 3.2s. and along with the HDMI 2.0 port. So we cover all your peripheral needs, from your mice and keyboards to external displays. And that's assuming you don't have a dock. If you do, we still support it through the USB-C or Thunderbolt cable docking solution. A little bit different from last year is that these will not support side docks anymore, so the mechanical docking is going away on 14S and 16S. Now, this is probably not too much of a shock because of some of the situations that's really outplayed for 14S and 15S Gen 2. We've already kind of taken away that side docking capability due to problems with the LAN switch. However, just as a early transition to new Alder Lake platforms. Also, starting at 2.73 pounds on the integrated models. This is our lightest mobile workstation and definitely gets you there in terms of mobility and performance. Now, P16, well, this is the side-by-side. This is just kind of more of a visual aid for you to get it after the call. The highlighted in blue is the new features. One of the things I'll point out on this slide, looking at the graphics section, in the past on discrete models, we could get 10 watts of base power to the CPU and 12 watts to the GPU. That's going up to 20 and 30 on the P14s Gen 3. So we're literally doubling the power that we're putting to the CPUs and GPU this generation from last. In terms of comparing it to the T14 Gen 3, there are a bit less differences here. You'll see the starting weight is a little bit higher for P14s. That's due to the slight different design. It equates to about 30 grams difference, so it's not too much. Then you have the total design power, thermal design power to the GPU and UMA models, where this will be slightly different on P14s and P16s compared to T-Series. The base power to the CPU would be about 10% higher across the board in terms of battery settings on P-Series than it is on T-Series. So you will actually get a slightly higher performing CPU for like configurations going from T to P. Also, you'll see that the discrete graphics offerings are slightly different. For P16s Gen 1, this is going to be the bigger cousin of the P14s Gen 3, just a few slight differences in offerings. We still have the same GPU offerings, same CPU offerings, same memory, same storage. The difference comes in, well, besides the obvious 14-inch to 16-inch transition, you have you max out at a QHD plus or QHD equivalent resolution. It's going to be non-touch, but it will feature that low blue light technology, the Dolby Vision, the factory color calibration. We just will not have a UHD offering. On P16s Gen 2 in 2023, we will have that UHD plus offering, or at least it's in the plan now, and I'm pushing for it. But for now, QHD is your premium resolution offering. We also have the same 4 different flavors of Full HD that 14S did. The regular touch, regular non-touch, low power, and ePrivacy touch, but we will not have that 2.2K offering like we do on the 14-inch. We'll have the same ports, so the same peripheral support, has the same docking solution, and this one still checks in at under 4 pounds, so you still have a pretty nice mix of mobility and performance. Not to mention, this still comes with the 10 key or the number pad on the side. Not sure how important it is to some of you, but I know that is a big pain point for some engineering firms and also my parents. So I just wanted to make sure that I put that out there. Similar situation here. Just want to see some side-by-sides compared to the 15S Gen 2. On this one, we will also offer a higher battery. The 52.5 watt hour that will become standard is currently rated at just under 11 hours in the Mobile Work 18. We don't have the final confirmation for 86 watt hour battery, but if I remember correctly, the preliminary results was around 14 hours. So that'll get updated as soon as I have confirmation. Compared to the T16, it's much the same story, slightly higher starting weight. We have the X-Rite factory color calibration on our displays when the T-Series does not. Similar scenario with the differences in CPU offering and GPU offering as well. Moving forward to the P16s AMD Gen 1. So this is, like I said, we're going from P14s to P16s, or a 14-inch platform to a 16-inch platform on the AMD offering. This will offer AMD's new Ryzen Pro Rembrandt CPUs. They're with their new 6-nanometer process and Zen 3 Plus tech. There'll be a 100% attach on integrated Radeon graphics, but it'll offer the Pro APU driver support as well. One of the main differences, this only goes up to 32 gigabytes of RAM max. This will be completely soldered to the board, so it will not be field upgradable. So in other words, what you buy from us is what you're stuck with, essentially. Now, it does use LPDDR5 memory, which is more of a low-powered brand, but it also goes up to 6,400 megahertz. Now, that is more than double the speed of the DDR4 memory that's on the P14s and 16s Intel, and it's actually higher than the DDR5 memory that we're using on the P1 Gen 5 and P16 Gen 1 and P15v Gen 3. Now, this also offers lower latency, so you're going to see greater performance anyway, and all configurations will come with 2 DIMM soldered to the board. So you're either going to have 16 gigs or 8 times 2, or you're going to have 32, or you're going to have 2 16 gigabyte DIMMs soldered down. Either way, you're going to have a balanced system. It's going to run super fast, and you're going to have I guess a superior memory performance experience, if you can actually tell that by the naked eye, I guess. We'll have the same storage offering as the 16S Intel version and the same display offerings. The ports are going to remain the same, except the 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports on Intel are going to function as USB-C 3.2, or Gen 2 3.2. Next year, I'm told that it will indeed support Thunderbolt. So that's in the plan for now. But for this year, still same as P16S Intel, we have the same docking solution. The weight is slightly higher on the AMD than the Intel due to a slightly larger CPU block for the thermal solution. So that is the explanation for the roughly 1/10 of a pound difference between the Intel and AMD starting weights. A little side-by-side from the 14S AMD last year. Things to note, obviously, we don't have that UHD offering for the displays. The display itself is getting bigger, and then, of course, the transition for the memory and the CPU and graphics. Everything else is pretty much falling in line with the rest of the 2022 product launches. All right, so getting out of the U space, or I guess in this case, the P28 space now, but just for all intents and purposes, and hopefully less confusion, we'll just keep calling it the U versus H class. So kicking off the H class is our mainstream performance offering, the P15v Gen 3. This is going to be a true refresh from P15v Gen 2, where the only changes we're really making are the transition to the new Alder Lake H series processors and the DDR4 to DDR5 memory transition. We can still go up to 64 gigs of memory via 2 slots, same as the Gen 2. However, one of the important things to note is that we are keeping the same GPUs that we used in the Gen 2. So we're still offering the T600, T1200, and A2000, all 4 gigabyte cards. On the P1 Gen 5 and P16 Gen 1, that A2000 card will have 8 gigabytes of VRAM instead of 4, so it's additional frame buffer. Why did we stay with the 4 gigabyte card on P15V? That was an attempt to keep costs in check, as this was supposed to be our mainstream or value performance offering. This is the only platform where we have not transitioned to 16:10 aspect ratios. We still feature that 15.6-inch display. Next year, that will go to a P16V. And for those that are astute on the call, yes, it will be moving to that 16:10 aspect ratio, 16-inch displays at that time. Feature plenty of port connectivity on this one as well, in the form of 1 Thunderbolt 4 port. You'll use that for the Thunderbolt dock or your charger. We also have 2 USB-As, and RJ45 is still on the board. That is important to note as we go into the P1 Gen 5 and even P16 Gen 1. The starting weight's the same from Gen 2 at 4.62 pounds. Still has the same battery. I think it rates out around 7.5 hours. And for your viewing pleasure, we have, of course, another side-by-side highlighting the main differences going Gen to Gen. It will have a T-Series sister product, if you will, the T15p Gen 3. It's going to essentially be the P15v, except it's going to have GeForce graphics. So again, we're going to 12th Gen Intel Core H processors, going from DDR4 to DDR5 memory. We're going to have the same storage capabilities, same displays, same ports, same starting weight. The only difference is we'll have 100% attached on the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3050 cards. 4GB card. It's also an upgrade from the GTX 1650 that we put in the Gen 2. So we're looking at significant performance jumps there. Other than that, not much has changed. It's a pretty straightforward transition. One thing to note that in 2023, we do expect the T15P to be absorbed by P15V, so there will no longer be that slight portfolio confusion. So we're looking to streamline the portfolio a little bit more moving forward. So it might be the last time you see T15P. Don't be sad, though. We'll still have GeForce offerings on other platforms. Here's a side-by-side, again, for your review later, from going from T15P Gen 2 to Gen 3 with the changes highlighted. Moving forward into Halo territory, we'll go to the P1 Gen 5. So again, much like the P15V, this is a refresh. However, it's a little bit more in depth. We did a little bit more changes to the portfolio as far as what we're offering. So yes, going to DDR5 memory, yes, going to 12th Gen Intel H processors. We are offering the full stack lineup of the NVIDIA Ampere refresh cards. So what that means on the ProViz side, we'll offer A1000 through A5500. Again, the A2000 through A4000 level graphics are doubling in VRAM, doubling in frame buffer. We'll also offer an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070 Ti and 3080 Ti. There are a few planar restrictions on this one. For instance, the 3080 Ti will 100% come with the i9 CPU. 3070 Ti will come with i7. Similar story on A5500 and 4500, where the higher end goes with i9 100% of the time, and 4500 goes with i7. So a little bit of planar limitation there. We still go up to 64 gigs of memory via 2 DIMM slots. We can go up to 8 terabytes of M.2 storage via 2 M.2 slots. That's a little bit different from the P15V. We're introducing a 4 terabyte M.2 drive that will be available on P1 and P16, but not on the other performance level systems. We still have that same 16-inch 16:10 aspect ratio display that we've introduced last year on the Gen 4. We keep that UHD plus non-touch and UHD plus touch solution with the low blue light technology. We add a QHD plus display that now features a higher refresh rate. So it's a variable refresh rate that goes up to 165 hertz, again, for those content creators and gamers. And we also now have a full HD option as well, whereas before it started off where your QHD display was your lowest possible offering. In this case, every one of these are going to be factory color calibrated, so 100%, not just on the higher end models, and all of them are going to come with low blue light technology. So no matter what display you go with, you'll get the full benefits of the low blue light and the color accuracy, no matter which option you go with. We'll still feature the same ports as last year, 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, 2 USB-As. The HDMI port functions 100% of the time as 2.1, whereas before it didn't, only for the T1200. But now we've transitioned to the A1000. We no longer have that problem. Still, the docking solution will still be the Thunderbolt 4 workstation dock, a single cable solution. It still starts at under 4 pounds, 3.99, but it's still under 4 pounds. Same as last year. We look to, at least for a sneak peek for 2023, we're looking to add OLED to one of the display options. So not available in Gen 5, but perhaps Gen 6 is in the plan right now. So all those looking for OLED just have to wait just a tad bit longer. P1 Gen 4, Gen 5 comparison is a little bit more of an eyesore. So again, I wanted to include these more for your review later and possibly reach out to your Lenovo rep or reach out to me directly and ask questions, doesn't matter. Again, highlighted in blue, the differences that we've made, what I've covered so far on the displays, the CPUs, GPUs, RAM, storage, and a few additional things here and there associated with the Wi-Fi that is consistent across the board. Now, you still won't have your RJ45 port on the actual system itself. We'll still offer that dongle as a solution, the USB-C Thunderbolt to Ethernet. We're actually going to have two options this year. One's going to be a 1 gigabit per second option. The other one's a 2.5 gigabit per second option. So 2.5 is a little bit async. It'll be available a little bit later than 1 gig, but it is coming, and that will be your solution as a hardwired Ethernet. Now, in my experience, most people are going to be either hooked up to Wi-Fi, or if they do have a hardwired Ethernet connection, it'll be through a dock, which we do feature on the Thunderbolt Workstation dock. But I know there are a few that do like to have that capability when the need arises. Okay, so P16 Gen 1. This is the new Halo product. We're going from 15 to 17 inch to 16. My tagline has been 16 inches and a 15-inch body with 17-inch performance. So how do we get there? We are utilizing Intel's new Alder Lake HX class series processors. So in the past, 15 and 17 both utilize Intel's H-class processors. They would run at a base power of 45 watts. These run at a base power of 55 watts. These are technically classified as a desktop CPU. So we are officially offering desktop replacement power in a notebook form factor. Now, that's not desktop workstation replacement power. I don't want you to get it twisted, but actual regular desktop power is now in the form of a laptop. Now, it's a big laptop. We're starting at 6.5 pounds, which is up about a quarter pound from the P15, but you get a lot more out of it. First of all, the higher performing CPUs, whereas before, typically if you go up in core count, you would more likely than not go down in overall core clock speed. In this case, we're adding two additional P cores to the equation. So in the H class maxed out at 14 total cores. These go up to 16 total cores, 8 P cores, 8 E cores, and there's little to no drop off, at least with the turbo clock speed under Intel's Turbo Boost conditions. So where no compromise there with the additional cores. We offer the same lineup of graphics just about as we do on the P1, where it will go all the way from A1000 to A5500 on the NVIDIA side. Those high-end GPUs are now going to run at a max Q rating of 115 watts in ultra performance mode. That is up from 100 watts, or a 15% improvement over the P15 Gen 2. We will also offer Intel's new Arc DG2 discrete graphics option as well. We are in the process of making 3070 Ti and 3080 Ti available on this platform as well. However, that'll be a special bid only offering, as in you will have to reach out to your Lenovo rep, have them configure you a CTO, and go from there. It will not be available on the channel, unfortunately, but we are committed to actually providing the full portfolio for you guys. So that is in the hopper. It's on the way. As soon as we get the green light, it'll be available in approximately 3 months. I will keep everybody apprised of that, especially Todd, everyone like that, so they can effectively communicate that back to you. We're still going to stay at 128 gigabyte max via 4 DIMM slots on the P16. They will only run at 4,000 megahertz instead of the full native 4,800. This is due to an Intel limitation in the CPU stack, chipset stack. So it's a similar limitation shared with some of the desktops that are coming out, essentially because these are desktop CPUs. We will offer up to 8 terabytes on this one as well. Via 2 storage slots. There'll be no physical space limitations on the high end. So like you will always be able to have 2 slots and be able to rate them no matter what your GPU and CPU selection is. On this one, the UHD touch option will feature OLED. It'll have Dolby Vision, low blue light, factory color calibration, HDR 500. It is async to August, so about a month after ship support for this particular product. But in the meantime, you can configure UHD non-touch, UHD non-touch, and also full HD option as well. We'll have 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports on this one and an additional normal USB-C port. Also 2 USB-A 3.2s and HDMI 2.1, so greater peripheral connectivity. However, this one does not feature an RJ45 on the system board either. Now, this is due impact, now, believe it or not so much from the physical space of how we're trying to keep the chassis thin and light by any means, but it's actually the physical space inside the system due to the completely new thermal design we came up for the system. So in order to pump out more power in a similar form factor than we did last year, we had to make some changes, make some sacrifices. In this case, on the high end, this system is going to feature dual vapor chambers, one for the CPU, one for the GPU, dual fans, more copper plating, bigger heat pipes. We're going to use a different thermal grease this time around, so it's going to actually increase the actual wattage we can get to the GPUs by about 3 to 4 watts based on the grease we choose, believe it or not. We're also going to, we've also redesigned our fan fin design as well as the vent design to lower overall air impedance of the fans so that it actually reduces power consumption and reduces the heat caused by additional fan performance. Not to mention, we've adopted the same technology from P1 Gen 4 and Gen 5, where we now have holes in the keyboard to actually suck in additional air, so you have this dual bypass design that makes components be cooled off from the top as well as the bottom. Now, interestingly enough, that caused a whistling noise, so we actually add a little resonance chamber down there to decrease the acoustics on that as well. So lots of thought and creativity went into this this thermal design. One of the sacrifices that had to be made was that RJ45 port. However, a bright side to that is we still offer that 1 gigabit per second and 2.5 gigabit per second Ethernet dongle. And that is important to note because if we were able to put RJ45 on the board, it probably would have been held to a 1 gigabit speed. So now you actually have the opportunity for those 2.5 gigabit speeds via the dongle. So not all is lost in a way. It just kind of presents a new opportunity for you. That's how I'm trying to sell it. In the meantime, let's admire the storm gray and black body design and the sweet red accents on the exhaust fin. Again, this was inspired by our official partnership with Aston Martin. You didn't hear it from me, but they're in the middle of helping us design our chassis for the next desktop workstations coming out next spring. The fan vent design on my P16 was not officially an Aston Martin design. I have to say that. I'll just say that it was inspired by our official designs that we can't wait to share with you guys. Fortunately, we just have to be a little bit more patient. But in the meantime, we're starting to truly meld the two sides of the portfolio together to give some kind of consistent visual cues and product ID that is officially Workstation. It's outside of the normal ThinkPad shadow. So that's also exciting. So great things, great performance, great portfolio options. We're just improving those in the future. I think Gen 1's not even out, but we're already looking at a brighter UHD non-touch display going up to 800 nits and a higher refresh panel as well for the 16 Gen 2. So, we'll never stop, thinking about constant improving on the ThinkPad or ThinkStation side. So a little bit of a side-by-side. This is going to be almost completely blue just because it's a brand new product. But again, for your review later, kind of captures all of the offerings, if you will, especially the differences from last year, especially the users that are currently on P15 Gen 2. So very exciting stuff. if you have any questions, please reach out to your Workstation or your Lenovo representative, and then they can engage us as necessary. So when can you get these systems? All right, so starting from top to bottom, for P14s Gen 3 and P16s Gen 1, they hit ship support in early April. Now, the supply situation was a little bit iffy. We expect supply ramp up to occur in the July-August timeframe. However, replens are already up and orders already up, so you're going to expect these in distribution by late June, early July, or you can contact your Lenovo rep now to help configure your transition now. P15v Gen 3 and T15p Gen 3 hit ship support in late April. You can expect them in distribution this month, or you can configure them now. P16s AMD Gen 1, that will be hitting ship support later this month, June 19th. You can expect that in distribution late July. There's a delay in the Win 10 downgrade OS. So essentially Win 10 is going to be async by about a month. So the ones you will see in distribution or the ones that you can ship now as of June 19th will be Win 11 only. P1 Gen 5, that one hits ship support in a few days. That's the current outlook. You can expect in distribution in July. You can configure now, so reach out to your rep. Same story with P16 Gen 1. You can configure now. Ship support is not until July 18th. It was this month, but got pushed back. Expect that in distribution by August. So one of the things I did not touch on because I'm not really allowed to talk about yet, but is another P15v variant. I'll leave it at, I can only say it will be an AMD system. It will feature AMD CPUs that are on the same level of performance as Intel H, so an AMD H class, so it'll run at 45 watts of base power. It'll also feature NVIDIA discrete graphics. So a bit more of a limited offering. It's kind of, it was introduced mid-development cycle. You probably won't be able to have WAN or wireless LTE with it. You won't be able to have a touch screen with it, but starting next year in 2023, the P16v will have equal offerings, Intel and AMD. So be on the lookout for that. That ship support is actually in the middle of August, but public announce will be later this month or early July, and then we can actually have more of a deep dive on that. So I couldn't include any more materials for you guys to take home yet, or else I'd get my hands slapped, but I can at least talk about it a little bit. So I think that's all I had. Here's a final family photo for you to review later. Again, just kind of a battle card for you to kind of reference. And I think as backup, I had the comparison between P16 and P17. So again, this will be for your review later as well. That is all the slides that I have. So I guess we'll leave the last few minutes for question and answer, although I'm not sure if I see any in the Q&A. I don't know if you can help me out with that. But yeah, those are the slides that I have. Does anyone have any questions?
So I think Thomas and Jim have been able to answer any of the chat questions that have came in while you were doing the presentation. But great stuff, a lot of great information there. Appreciate you running through that. But yeah, is there any questions anybody has top of mind? So I think I don't see any questions coming in. And the ones that did come in, Thomas and Jim were able to answer during the thing. But again, appreciate you running through all this, Jacob. Great information and a lot of stuff I wasn't even aware of, as well as Thomas and Jim. So hopefully our clients got a lot out of it. I know we did. But again, for any of you that are on the call, if you have any questions or want to follow up, make sure you reach out to your account exec at Insight. Again, Lenovo has heavily invested it with Insight. Insight has its own dedicated workstation BDM Insight rep as well, so we can answer any kind of product recommendations, technical questions, do product roadmaps similar to what Jacob just did. But we're here to help you guys. So again, encourage you to engage with us. use the resources that are available to you. And
I believe we had a question come in. Yeah, you said to reach out for the Insight rep for pricing and availability in 2023. Just want to make sure you saw that.
Yeah, so I also see a question from George about the ThinkPad X1 Extreme Gen 5. In terms of, will it be following the same updates as Gen 5? Or P1 Gen 5, sorry. In terms of CPUs, memory, storage, the chassis itself, the ports, it's pretty much the same product. The difference that arises is in the GPU offering. X1E will not have any of the Pro Visual, or formerly known as Quadro, graphics cards. They will have 3070 and 3080 Ti like the P1, but they'll also offer 3060 and 3050 as options. Whereas the P1 does not offer the 3050 or 3060 Ti. Now, in 2023, the decision has all but been made that there will not be an X1E anymore. So everything that you had on X1E that we couldn't get on P1 would then be on P1 Gen 6. So the current outlook is that P1 Gen 6 in 2023 will have NVIDIA or Quadro, whatever you want, ProViz, whatever you want to call it. It's their fault for their marketing. It'll have a 1,000 through 5,000 level graphics as I do now, and then on the GeForce side, we'll go from 3050 all the way up to 3080, or I guess at that point it'll be 4050 through 4080 on the Gen 6. So I'm excited about it, just from a portfolio simplification standpoint, consolidation standpoint. I can confuse this folks internally enough. I can only imagine for the end customers, but also selfishly, X1E didn't necessarily as a workstation, and now that we have that portfolio in P1 Gen 5 or Gen 6, it will. So I'm pretty excited about that from a selfish standpoint. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. I'll also type it out because I was in the middle of doing that before. I thought I'd as well just address it verbally, but hope that helps.
Good stuff. And just as a follow-up, we'll be sending out emails here in the next day or two as far as our winners for the different prizes to the attendees. Again, appreciate you guys' attendance. Again, if you have any questions, follow up with your Insight AE. They can engage the Workstation team here. We'll be happy to help.